Nineveh was the most powerful city in Assyria, but also one of the most violent and corrupt in the known world. Its streets were marked by injustice and cruelty, something that did not go unnoticed by God. God chooses a Hebrew prophet named Jonah to carry a warning to that city: they must change their behavior, or they will be destroyed. It is a dangerous mission, aimed at the heart of the empire his own people fear most. Instead of obeying, Jonah decides to flee in the opposite direction. He walks quickly toward the nearest port, determined to put as much distance as possible between himself and the mission he has been given. At the port, Jonah pays for passage on a merchant ship heading far from Nineveh. Convinced this will let him escape his fate, he boards without telling anyone where he was actually supposed to go. The ship sets sail with favorable winds. Jonah goes down to the lowest part of the vessel and falls asleep almost immediately, as if he could finally rest after fleeing from something so immense. Hours later, the clear sky changes completely. Dark clouds gather out of nowhere over the ship, and the wind begins to blow with a force no experienced sailor recognizes. The storm hits with full force. The waves rise higher than the ship itself, and water begins pouring in from every direction. The sailors fight desperately to keep the ship afloat. Convinced that someone aboard has provoked the wrath of some god, the sailors cast lots to discover who is responsible. The lot falls directly on Jonah, whom they find still asleep below deck. Jonah confesses the whole truth: he is fleeing the one true God, and the storm is a direct consequence of his disobedience. To save the rest of the crew, he asks them to throw him into the sea. With great reluctance, the sailors finally throw him into the churning sea. At the exact instant Jonah touches the water, the storm suddenly stops, leaving absolute silence over the waves. Beneath the surface, as Jonah sinks deeper and deeper, an immense shadow approaches from the dark depths of the sea. It is not a current or a rock, it is something alive, and it is moving directly toward him. In a single motion, the creature swallows Jonah whole. Instead of drowning as he expected, he wakes up moments later inside something dark, wet, and surprisingly, still with air to breathe. Jonah wakes up confused in total darkness, surrounded by an intense smell and the constant sound of something breathing around him. Little by little, he realizes he is alive inside the belly of the creature that swallowed him. For 3 days and 3 nights, Jonah remains trapped inside. With nothing else to do amid that darkness, he prays with a sincerity he had never had before, asking for a second chance. On the 3rd day, the creature swims toward the shore and spits Jonah out onto the sand, alive but completely exhausted. He lies face up for several minutes, unable to believe he survived. This time, when he receives the same order as before, Jonah does not hesitate for a second. He gets up, regains his strength, and begins walking straight toward Nineveh, finally ready to do what was asked of him. After days of travel, Jonah finally arrives at the imposing mud-brick walls of Nineveh. He walks straight into the main streets and begins shouting the warning: the city will be destroyed in 40 days if they do not change course. To everyone's surprise, even the king of Nineveh takes the message seriously. He orders the entire city to fast and dress in mourning, publicly acknowledging they must change their ways immediately. When Nineveh is forgiven, Jonah, instead of rejoicing, becomes deeply angry. He sits alone under a tree outside the city, frustrated that the mercy he himself preached ended up reaching those he considered enemies. The story of Jonah reminds us that no place is beyond the reach of divine mercy, and that obedience, even when delayed, always serves a greater purpose. God does not seek to destroy, but to give genuine opportunities for repentance, even to those we ourselves judge least deserving.